All right, folks, welcome to this session on Team. We'll be getting started in about 3 minutes. This fun little timer. Look at that. All right, got a quick poll. There we go. And if you can give me a quick thumbs up in the chat if you can hear me, that would be very, very helpful. If you know me, I am paranoid about making sure my audio actually works. And got a quick poll going for folks. Just how many teams have you been to, if any? Or if you've been to the events that are currently known as Team. I forget what they used to be called. Whatever they used to be called. Oh, it's very low. All right. How is that, Justin? Is that any better? Hopefully it's not too loud. I definitely try and balance it between loud enough. All right. Yeah, YouTube is a bit fiddly sometimes with the input. Wow, much better and much better. Thank you, Liz. Let me fix my photo a bit. There we go. Dead center. All right, I also put a poll out on LinkedIn. What do you think they're going to talk about at Team? I'll drop that poll in here too. And I'll keep reminding folks about this, but I don't have any insider knowledge. I know what is publicly available. That said, I have some ideas that I'll share. Victoria, welcome. And it looks like so far the plurality, if I recall my statistics of us, have not been to a Team yet. So that means the biggest group that is not a majority. Justin is multitasking. Amazing. I won't tell your boss. Rovo ad nauseum from Liz. We'll get there. We'll get there. I'll give folks another minute or so, and then we'll jump on in and get started. Oh, I forgot my welcome message. Hang on. Boop. There we go. Sarah, welcome, my friend. Quick shout out to Sarah and my other channel members. You keep me in coffee. I really appreciate that. I do these sessions professionally. I'm not an influencer, according to my wife. I am a content creator. But you'll hear me talk about different things that I'm up to, but mostly focused on Team. So we are going to jump on in. This is being recorded on YouTube, so if you're dropping on in, jump on in. Ronan835, welcome, my friend. What happened to the first 834 of you? Dare I ask? Quick way of introduction. My name is Rob. I've been in the Atlassian ecosystem since about 2013. Since then, I've become an Atlassian trainer, essentially, and this is what I do professionally. I help people learn how to use these products in different ways, and part of that is going to events like Team. Team is the biggest event that Atlassian does. It's their yearly conference. I'll talk more about that, but there are other events that are not a Team event, and I'll talk about those a bit as well. I've been to 3 of them so far. I was in Vegas 2 years ago, Anaheim last year, and Barcelona. I got to go international, which was a lot of fun. Sir Rob, welcome, my friend. And James Bruno, good to see you. What happened to the first 332 James Brunos? I'm curious. Interaction. This will be me sharing information on YouTube, so you're going to see and hear me, but please use the chat. Ask questions, interact with polls that will pop up. There's one right now asking if you've been to a Team event. And again, 45% of us right now have not, which is totally okay. Some of us have been to more than 4, though. Looks like 1% of us, or 1 person in here, which is awesome. So if you've been, please share your experience. I'll talk about like tips and tricks and what to expect. Please help give other people that knowledge, because it's a big intimidating thing. It's a big conference in Anaheim or wherever. So understanding what you're in for can help. It can also make it easier to pitch the idea to your company if that's what we'll do, and I'll talk about that. But please like and subscribe if you haven't. I'll have a lot more content around team. I'll talk about what I'm doing there. Mwip, I'm trying to pronounce it all as one. Welcome. I'll have more content around team as we go. I'll be doing things like live streams from there. Like and subscribe to get that. And also share this video. If you have other folks interested in team, let them know. There is also a gigantic QR code under my head. I'll talk about that in a moment. So we're going to talk about just what team is. I try and put it all in caps everywhere. I don't know if that's the official way to spell it, but I'll describe what it is and then what to expect around it. This will include my ideas around what could be announced. Again, I don't have any special insider knowledge. I don't have like a cheat sheet of things I'm not allowed to talk about. I'll just kind of be guessing based on what I've noticed at prior teams and what I see happening out in the wide world. And then I'll share tips and tricks about what to do while you're there, how to get there, and then some just things to be aware of, like the do's and don'ts. And again, folks who have been, please jump on in. Liz, thank you so much for supporting the channel. And I've met my goal of having one person support me in this stream, so I now have to do a follow-up closer to team. All right, I'll put a little heart on there for you. All right, so what is team? Twice yearly global conference. There's one in the US and one in Europe. Last year it was in Anaheim, California, and in Barcelona, Spain. Welcome, Kaitra, another one of my members. Good to see you. But it's a lot of learning. It's intended to be Atlassian's time to showcase major announcements, and I'll talk about some past ones as we go. But things like Rovo was announced at Team, or the customer service management app was announced in Barcelona back in October. This one is May 5th to 7th in Anaheim, California, so near Los Angeles. I'm really bad at geography. To me, it's all just Southern California. I live in Berkeley near San Francisco, and it's around human and AI collaboration. And so this gives us some clues as to terms of what we can expect. And even here, you can see I got it. It's all lowercase here, so I don't know if it should be upper or lowercase, if anyone has any guidance. This is where Anaheim is, southwest corner of the US, and it's about as close to Disneyland as you can possibly get. Last year, I went to Disneyland for an event and I walked back to the hotels. It took about 20 minutes. So this is part of, if you're able to go, like thinking through what else you want to do there. I'll talk about this later, but don't just stay in the hotel in the conference center. And that's very easy. My hotel room last year looked at the conference center. I walked down a fire escape about 20 feet across a road and right into the conference hall. Don't just do that. There's a lot of other stuff to do in Anaheim. If you're coming internationally, many people also make this a bigger trip to explore other areas of North America, of the US, of LA. But this is where it's located. You can see that blue dot is where I am. I couldn't get that off of Google Maps, so that's where I am. Now, at Team, there's a lot of stuff going on. We'll dig into each of these, but there's things like talks. These talks can be by Atlassian. These talks can be by customers or sponsors or other people. There's also the big announcements, and this is what everyone thinks of when they think of Teams. They think of, what's Atlassian going to tell us that's new and shiny and coming out? And then there's also just other events. Now, the talks are a wide range. Here, my friend Sajid is doing a live quiz show called Are You Smarter Than a Jira Admin? But customers will share what they know or share use cases. These can be really interesting because they can help you figure out how to use these products more effectively or help you understand different ways to use them. You got to choose carefully, though. There are going to be hundreds of different talks. You do get an app that you can set up a schedule, but some of them are recorded. So sometimes I don't go to those just because I can catch the recording later. I focus on the ones that people I know are giving, and you'll frequently see me there recording folks or helping out or supporting them. But I go to ones of people that I know or ones I find particularly interesting. Some companies do also send groups, and then you can kind of divide and conquer. You can all split up. But they will announce the list of talks in advance, so you can go through and pick and choose, I want to go to these ones. Then we have these big keynotes, they're called. These are the really big announcements. Here we see one for customer service management. This was in Barcelona, but this is typically on the second day. There'll be 3 keynotes, the first, second, third days. The middle one is where they announce the big whatever they're going to announce. This was Rovo's now included in all plans back in Anaheim last year. Who knows what it'll be this year? I'll share my thoughts on that as we go. While I'm babbling, I'm just going to drop a quick question. What's a good collections? Just 4 options. What do you think they're going to announce? What's another good one? I don't know if I spelled acquisition properly. Sorry. One thing about these keynotes, they're insanely loud. It's a giant room that'll fit my house 47 times in it. They blast the music, there's lights. Typically, I don't sit way in the front. You'll see people who want to get the front row seat. To me, it's not worth it. It's too loud. You got to fight through a crowd. They have screens all over the place. In Anaheim last year, they also had satellites. So other areas where it was being broadcast to, so you could go sit and watch there. That's where you'll find me. Even though I'm an Atlassian champion, I could sit right up at the front. I don't. But very loud music is blasting. I go just to hear what's happening, mostly to the second one. Atlas, I can't... Is that Icelandic? I'm sorry, my friend. I can't tell what you said just because of that comment. I'll see if I can grab that into Translate real quick. Or if anyone in chat can help me out. But while I'm looking up how to understand my friend here, what do you think is going to be announced? So this is... I have ideas that I'll share in a minute. But they do take their time, or they do make this an opportunity to share the biggest announcements they have. So what do you think? Drop a poll, drop a comment, that kind of thing. Yeah, Kyther's saying bring earplugs. So I'll talk more about tips and tricks as we go, as well as a resource I'm putting together for all y'all. So far, most of us think Rovo stuff. No one thinks anything about collections and a little bit about acquisitions. All right, keep the votes coming. Again, these are all my guesses. This is just a disclaimer. I don't have any insider knowledge other than what I observe on public websites. I think Rovo is going to be a huge one. I think that mainly because we're seeing more and more Rovo everywhere. At Team Anaheim last year, Rovo was announced as being a separate product. So you had to pay an extra $24 a month or whatever it was. Then in Barcelona, they just announced it's going to be included. Or maybe it was 2 years ago in Vegas, and then in Anaheim, it was just be included in Premium and Enterprise. And now it's included in Standard, Premium, and Enterprise. So I think we'll see a lot around Rovo, both in terms of how it is licensed and accessed. You know, will it be on a... You'll have to pay for credits to use it, or will you get more controls? But also updates to the underlying technology itself, like things it can do. In Barcelona, we heard about skills, which are actions Rovo can take in other systems. For example, Rovo can make a Confluence page, but Rovo can also interact with GitHub. Rovo can send an email in Google Mail. I'm just trying to remember examples off the top of my head. But to use a phrase my friend used to use, dollars to donuts. I bet that we're going to see a lot more on Rovo. I also think we're going to see more on collections. We're seeing this, especially with like Jira Service Management. Someone called out that products and entitlements are missing from Jira Service Management. They've moved into Customer Service Management. And you can no longer just get JSM. You have to get the service collection that includes a bunch of things. So I can see Atlassian packaging more stuff for us and then sharing that here at Team. Like we've got adjustments or updates or improvements to existing collections. Because we just saw in Barcelona Rovo Dev, so Rovo for developers, and there's a dev collection with stuff like that. And I can see more integrations, whether these integrations are with external tools or with some of the acquisitions that have already been announced, things like the Browser Company of New York. Now for Rovo specifically, there is a beta right now for Rovo for mobile and desktop. I could easily see a GA being announced. And I'm saying this because if it's been in beta for any period of time, we could expect, hey, it'll just be generally available. Liz, I'm glad you actually speak Icelandic. If you could help me out here. Trying to decipher that, Atlas, my friend. Naba Academy and data from IB done by Friday morning, evening. Not sure I can help you out, my friend. I can also see a lot more skills and connectors. So this would just be other things it can do. When we think of Gen AI tools, they're very useful like in creating something, but they're more useful if they can go take action for us or help us tee things up. Again, in the example I used, I can have it analyze all of my work items and then make an email that I send to somebody. Or have it take, what I would love to see personally is have it edit an existing Confluence page. Right now, it can just stuff data at the bottom of it. It can't go in and tweak the middle with an agent. So I can expect more skills and more connectors, especially for agents, to allow us to take action across different systems. We also saw, I didn't put it here, but the Rovo MCP server is being made available by Atlassian. So we might see more with that in making it more extensible. So more things can hook into Atlassian's MCP server to interact with the systems more effectively. I also don't know about, because there is Atlassian Isolated Cloud. They announced this as well as government options. I know in isolated environments, especially for government, things like Rovo aren't yet, what's the term, authorized, compliant, allowed, usable. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see something around Rovo in isolated environments there. Wow, yeah, so far 75% of us think Rovo stuff. Oh, one person thinks collections, and then 4 people think acquisition. I can't do multi-select in YouTube, I'm sorry. Curious what other things folks see happening in Rovo. Feel free to drop it in chat. And also shout out to my Discord community. I've got about 300 folks in live chat over in Discord, just sharing information and ideas. I'll drop that link in here too, if that's something you are interested in partaking in. Next up were the collections. The prior teams have had a lot around collections. So we saw the software collection. This is for developers. Service collection, teamwork collection, and strategy collection. I think I got them all. There won't be a quiz. But these have been a big focus, and to me, it looks like this is how Atlassian is shifting its stance. It's no longer just going to give you only Jira. It's going to give you Jira with Rovo, with Loom, with Confluence to make you better at teamwork. It's not just going to give you Compass. It's going to give you Compass and Rovo and pipelines and all these other things, the software collection. This makes sense to me, especially as Atlassian is looking at bigger enterprise. Like, you don't just need one of these tools to be super effective. Smaller groups could leverage just Compass and be very happy. Smaller groups could just leverage Jira Service Management. But the bigger groups are going to need a bigger tool in the form of the service collection, in the form of the software collection. So I could easily see either updates to these collections or new collections or adjustments coming out. And then I could easily see our ability to get Atlassian software turn into, I'm not getting just Jira, I'm getting the whole collection. We're seeing this again with Jira Service Management. If you go to their pricing page right now, it's just the teamwork collection, or sorry, just the service collection. It's not service management or customer service management. A Bite with Lena is suggesting more Forge. I really like that one. Forge is Atlassian's development environment. It's, correct me if I'm wrong, A Bite, it's like a year old, 2 years old. It's relatively recent. And so in terms of collections, I could see more Forge stuff appearing in the software collection. I could also see updates to Forge. I'm not a developer. I know enough to sound like I know what I'm talking about. But hopefully they have more in that. And then just some broader ideas. The term space is showing up everywhere. They recently renamed Jira projects to become Jira spaces. This lines up with what Confluence calls them, spaces, and it lines up with what the name is in customer service management. So maybe not at this team, but maybe in a year or two, there's no difference between Jira and Jira Service Management and Confluence. There are just spaces that have wiki, that have support, that have something else. A Byte says, Forge is 4 years old. Thank you for keeping me honest. I have no idea. But they just started pushing it. Okay, that makes sense. Again, not a developer, so I'm only tied into this when folks like yourself let me know, hey, Rob, this is a thing. All right. So I can see, again, more integrations and more connections, especially on the Rovo side, as we think of how do we integrate Atlassian into our bigger environments. Liz has a question, can I still access the app? Sorry, to clarify what I think could happen with collections, instead of purchasing just Jira Service Management, I would get Jira Service Management and Customer Service Management and Rovo and whatever else is in the service collection. Maybe I'll grab a screen real quick. I want this one. And I'll show you all what I'm talking about. Jira Service Management pricing. Is this the one? Yeah, so this is the Jira Service Management pricing page. And what you'll notice, it's the service collection. So this is no longer only Jira Service Management. It's got these things bundled, CSM, JSM, Assets, and Rovo. Plus all of what they're calling platform apps. So one other thing we've seen in past teams is they're pulling out some bigger things. Assets is the biggest, most obvious one. It used to be part of Jira Service Management. It's now a separate app, they're calling them. But we've also got Looks like Goals is its own app. I thought that was part of Jira. Studio, where you build robo agents and automations and things like that. Teams, which was recently broken out as its own thing. I like this shift because it makes it more modular. That teams can determine which ones they want to use. So it's Atlassian thinking forward, going, hey, you've got a company with 100,000 workers. How do you best support them? Well, you don't force them to get Jira Service Management if they just need assets. You break assets out, and then you just get assets. Rodney, welcome, my friend. We've got the Jira guy in the house. I'll be on the Jira Life later with him, talking about Confluence, but he's always great to see. Just catching up on the chat. So this is what I could see happening with the other apps that they offer. No longer will we be able to only get Jira or just Confluence. We would get these bundles of things that contain more features than I would get otherwise. I could also see a browser popping out. They announced that they're getting the Browser Company of New York or acquiring them along with a couple other groups. DX, I think is called, for AI. I think that's what they do. I should really know that. But I could easily see an Atlassian browser or the product that the Browser Company of New York makes being a single place you go to access all Atlassian stuff, and it's more integrated. We're seeing a little bit of this with the Chrome extension that Atlassian offers for Rovo. If you open a new tab in Chrome, you're interacting with Rovo. This to me makes sense. Again, Atlassian has all these products that make work easier and collaboration easier. So putting it right where I do my work in my browser is an obvious extension, is an obvious next step. Again, I go to my work computer, I open up the Atlassian browser, and it's got everything in there, just all integrated and tied into one spot. Shortening the distance between I need to do something and, oh, I can do it. So those are my guesses. Again, the crowd believes 75% of us think Rovo stuff will be the biggest announcement. That would not surprise me. What they're going to announce, though, I'll be curious to see what specific things. If you go to their public roadmap, there's not a lot on the coming soon. So I wonder if they're just keeping some things in reserve to surprise us. So those are my guesses. We'll see how accurate or true they are. In addition to these big announcements, though, we also have these events. The picture you're seeing here is a group putting together a puzzle, essentially. It's a bunch of dice that when they're all put down in a proper way, say like Atlassian's William Racing. So when you go to these events, it's not just about these big announcements or the talks. There'll also be interactive things you can do to help you meet people, but also to explore Atlassian systems of work. I cleaned up my office lately and I lost them. Tarot cards that are Atlassian themed to help you understand a process or what's going on, just to give you an idea of what shows up there. So it's not just sitting down, listening to talks and waiting in a conference room. It's interactive. You'll be going around and you'll have to go find them. The conference hall is huge. It's a couple of football fields or soccer pitches. So there's a lot of stuff in there. And that's where I typically circulate. The Jira guy is saying, yeah, a browser makes me nervous. And that's where, like, I don't think right now that Atlassian's going to go to a place where you have to use their browser and only their browser. I think it's just another tool that can make it easier, if that makes sense, the Jira guy. It's an obvious extension in my mind or next step based on how everything's in cloud. I'll be curious how it goes. Atlassian has their own booths. This is me going to Trello. I specifically hunted down Trello because my friend Brittany Joyner is a Trello expert, and they are typically stuffed in a back corner somewhere. So I always go say hi to these nice people. But every product that Atlassian has will have a booth. You can see in the background of this shot, Rovo has a section, and there are maps you'll find that show you where things are. And you'll also have an app on your phone that will show you how to get from different places to different places. So like if you get lost, definitely go check out these booths though. Especially after they have these big announcements, you can go talk to the product managers and the marketing folks to understand what they're announcing and how it impacts you. So it's always worth your time to go over to the Trello folks and say, hi, show me these recent updates, or go to the Rovo people and say, I have trouble using these agents, help me out. And they can talk to you about features, updates, and they can also give you a demo usually. There is also a customer support booth usually where you can go up and ask more specific questions. I wouldn't necessarily ask anything sensitive or confidential to that group just because it's in a giant open space with your 10,000 closest friends. But this is a great opportunity to talk to the people who build the product to at least understand their perspective on what it is, how it can be used. I don't know. The Jira guy, it would be great if someone's doing live streams and recording from Teams, in addition to myself, of course. There's also sponsors. We're seeing here a Landsweeper. This woman here actually took some of my online courses. I got to meet her in person. I'll talk more about the people. But if your group uses apps or uses any kind of Atlassian partner for integration or development, you can go talk to them. This is great because it helps put a face to the name, but it also helps you explore different offerings. If you go into Marketplace, there's dozens, if not hundreds of options. And so going to talk to these folks and have them show you and demo their product makes it much easier to use. Again, it shortens the distance between, hey, what do you do, Landsweeper, and how can you help me? One thing I really like about Atlassian events, they're very polite. They won't come and heckle you. They won't go into the crowd and say, come here, check out this. If you walk up to them, they might say, hi, would you like to learn about this? But you can walk through what's called the exhibition hall, and no one's going to bug you about coming to look at a demo or something like that. So you can optionally share your information to join a sweepstakes or whatever and optionally get emails, but you don't have to do that. I really like that because I don't have to worry about a bunch of people coming after me. I would absolutely love to join you, Rodney. All right. A quick question, and I need some coffee. Have you registered for Team 26? And I'll do it in all caps. I need a yes, no, and a not yet. And I'm asking this because there is a ticking clock in terms of registering. I'm going to pop over here. If you Google Team 26, add the word Atlassian, because there are other groups that use the term Team 26, which I found out. I thought it would be a pretty straightforward. But this is the registration page. I'll drop this link if folks want more information. And I have to go to a different window to post links for some reason. That's very annoying. The pricing does change. Right now, we're at the cheapest pricing. I'm doing this session today because I did one after Barcelona, and I asked, hey, folks, when should I do a follow-up? And they said before the early bird pricing starts. So we have a little over a week to get the super cheap rate. Please don't wait. If it's something you're considering, and if you know you want to go, get the pass now, because that'll save you at least $200. If you wait until March, the price almost doubles. Now, this is not cheap, like, please understand that, but it will be cheaper or less expensive. There are other options. Teams can go. So if you have more than 3 people at your company, typically they keep the superfan pricing, but you need a group. So if I know people from my company want to go, you can wait for this to pop out. However, it's only for customers and prospective customers. This one is going to be the cheapest for individuals. There's also a digital pass. In the past, a lot of this has been free. You can catch some live streams officially from Atlassian and from other creators like myself and the Jira guy and the Jira Life. But there are free ways to get this information. And it looks like, we're pretty evenly split. About a quarter of us have, a quarter of us haven't, and a good chunk of us haven't yet. For those 40% of us who haven't yet, if you're going to go, like if you know right now, hey, I want to do this and I can afford it, please register just so you save $200. But this page will have all that information. Wait, there's prize packages? What is that? Oh, wow. If you get your in-person pass before the 31st, you could win. Hey, that's pretty cool. 4 tickets to baseball, a swag basket, a gift card, and nights at the hotel. So I guess they're encouraging you to sign up before the 31st. I don't think I'm eligible for this. One of the perks about being an Atlassian champion is we get free access to team events, but I don't think I could win that amazing prize package. So if you're thinking of going and you know you can, definitely register now. If your team is interested in going, you can wait for the pass bundle to pop open, but you need at least 3 people to go. I just showed you all of this, but registration can be the single largest expense. It depends on where you are. I live close enough where I can fly in fairly cheaply. So if I were to purchase these last chance, it would by far be the single most expensive thing. If you're coming international, your travel is probably going to be more expensive. But you have that digital option. You do not have to physically show up to learn from these. It's a different experience because it's digital, it's virtual, but you'll still get access to those. A lot of the keynote information, the big announcements, and a lot of the smaller talks are also recorded and then shared later. So you can actually go in Team 25 Atlassian recordings. I think this is still online. And this is the example of Team 25, where you can watch highlights from the keynotes, highlights that they've cut out of larger talks, and then also what they call super sessions, so specific things that they are sharing. So it's not everything you'll get access to virtually and after the fact, but it's a lot of it. And here they've got an on-demand library, all the keynotes, all the highlights, go away Google Chrome, product spotlights, and then breakout sessions. These breakout sessions are where customers are going to talk about use cases or specific ways products can support you. So a lot of value here if you cannot physically get there for any reason. If you do get there, though, you got to figure out where to stay. There are plenty of hotels. What we're looking at is a zoom in of the convention center. I had a hotel room right about here last year. This was a 5-minute walk. There's a bunch of other hotels. They do have preferred pricing, but a lot of these hotels are still going to be $150, $200 a night. So there's this Clarion Hotel right here. This is a 6-minute walk to the convention center and much, much cheaper. So definitely worth checking out other lodging options. And again, this is very walkable. There are big streets, but lots of pedestrian access, lots of crosswalks, those kind of things. If you're traveling in a group, this was a tip we got from Rodney after Barcelona, is do an Airbnb. So if you've got a team who is comfortable staying in an Airbnb together, that can be a good option. But if you type in hotel, convention center, convention center, Anaheim hotel, you're going to get a lot of great options that are all in the area. You also need to plan for incidentals. I got on the plane to Barcelona and realized I did not have a computer charger. I absolutely have to have that because it's my job. So I had to buy one in the airport. So remember, you're going to have some expenses. You'll forget your toothpaste. You'll have to get to and from the airport. You'll have to buy a meal here and there. While you're at Team, they do have a light breakfast, lunch, and sometimes dinner. And there can be other events you can get invited to that include food. So your expenses may be less than for normal business trips, but do budget for incidental stuff you're going to forget, or souvenirs if you like bringing those home. And I can see folks in the chat are talking about the Red Sox. I'm going to stay out of that. I don't know American football too well. All right, and we're actually evenly split. Out of 21 folks who voted, 7 of you each said yes, no, and not yet. I'm getting a kick out of that. I'm going to kick off another poll. Just what are you interested in at Team? And I'll just put some options. I'm just trying to think of 4 fun options: keynotes, meeting folks, swag, and other. I don't think I have a slide for swag in here. Alex Ortiz likes to bring extra suitcases because he ends up with a bunch of t-shirts and a whole bunch of swag. Personally, you'll find some cute things that vendors have. Like my friends over at AppFox have this cute little foxy that turns inside out. It can be happy or it can be angry. I love these. I borrowed a couple for my kids, and my kids love them. But a lot of the swag I look at, and it's exciting, and then I realize, hey, I don't need all this stuff. So if you're there for the swag, yeah, I did mention bring a spare bag, Rodney. Be judicious with what you take, because then you have this stuff. Now, my plan when I go to a team event, or any in-person event, is the people. The talks are interesting, to see how folks do stuff. The keynotes are interesting because you learn what's going to happen. But really, I want to go there to reconnect with people I know. Rodney's in the chat right now, Kythra, Liz, other folks, to meet people I only know online. I met Kythra at a conference in October for the first time, and we've been online friends for over a year. That's amazing, and to meet new folks. I have some pictures later, but you will bump into people who share an interest, or you'll be talking, you'll be sitting at this table, and I'll talk about some tips around meeting folks, and you'll just start up a conversation with somebody. So that's really what I go to these for, and that's my plan. I will look through the talks and pick a couple, but mostly you'll find me just circulating on the floor, meeting folks, but also creating things. I will be doing live streams from the floor. I'll be making recorded content. I challenge myself to make videos, within 10 minutes so I can post them. And that to me is like my happy space. That's fun. That's my creative outlet. So you'll see me mostly talking to folks and creating. This is a photo of two of my friends from the community. We've got Gen on the right, out of Japan, does amazing Japanese language stuff, and then Alex Ortiz on the left there, from Ape Tech and the Jira Life and many other places. But Team is a place to reconnect. It is sometimes the only time in a year where we'll all be together. And relationships are important. You'll hear me say in training, like, it's important you understand how the buttons work, but it's also important you understand how to go talk to other people about it, because that's how you're going to grow and learn and expand. I've learned a ton from folks like Rodney, Gen, Kai Throat, Liz, etc. Arslan, I think, also snuck in here. But those relationships are the value to me, because you get to see and interact with people. And then they pay off later because we share knowledge. We jump into the Discord that Rob runs, and we share our favorite, what we're talking about this morning, favorite cartoons as a kid. Inspector Gadget and the Magic School Bus popped up. Like, that is adjacent to Atlassian. It's important that we know how the product works, but we're all human, and this connection is the important thing. I'll get off that soapbox for a bit, but also learning something. I don't know why I took this photo, other than, am I pointing at someone in the background I know? Nope. This is from Barcelona. Maybe someone asked where I was. I just said I'm right here. But learning things. I'm really interested in the Rovo. It's a tool that exists, and I'm exploring it, but how else can it be used? This is where you're going to see me watching at the keynote for Rovo announcements, okay, the new stuff, but also cornering as many product managers as I can who manage it, and as many other people who use it. Liz, I can't forget the cats in Discord. I do have a new cat. I'm trying to point behind me right here, peeking out from behind that. I got that for Christmas. Made me very happy. There's another cat that I don't have hung up yet, but he's eating ramen. And also, does anyone know what this thing is, by the way? That little guy? What is that thing? Let me know in chat. So I'm interested in Rovo because it is a tool that is available and they're pushing quite a bit, so I want to know how to use it. I'm also interested in Confluence at scale, though. Especially since I left corporate world, I need more exposure to how do big groups use Confluence to be successful. And so in person, I can sit down and talk with folks. I can open up a demo box and we can point at it, or they can show me theirs. Again, as long as it's not confidential, as long as it's okay to share. And also always interested in things for project management. So this is what I'm looking at learning. And I do that by interacting with folks and by paying attention to those keynotes to see what big announcements that they have. And then creating. What you're seeing here is a kind of behind the scenes photo. Sajit, the gentleman in the middle with a very amazing shirt, runs a quiz channel. And so I recorded him as he did it so he can share that out. So as other creators are there, as other folks in the community give a talk, let me know. I'll come and record it so you have a recording for you. Some of them, Atlassian does record and live stream some of them, but not all. So here I'm always happy to go help folks out and set up a camera and a microphone and watch them do it live and then share it. Again, it's about the relationships we have and amplifying that. And this is an easy way for me to do that. A byte, it's an axolotl. It's not an axolotl. It's very close. What is the axolotl holding? What is that? Anyone? It is an axolotl, the pink thing, but what's this thing right here? Also interview folks. I had some great chats with the Atlassian learning team, specifically certifications and credentials. As they're exploring different ways to work. I spoke to folks in the Atlassian community who help manage it and like what is it like being in the community or a champion. But selfishly I get to learn that way, and then I get to share it with other folks. So I'll be creating on the floor, doing live stuff, recorded stuff, and this is another way I learn. It helps me understand the topics better by sharing with all of y'all. All right, this link will take you to a webpage I have. I think it's also in the bottom right under my head right now. It goes to my website, and I have a page set up specifically for Team. I'll pull it up in just a minute. I got to go find the link, which I was a big dumb dummy and didn't have ready. But this includes resources about Team, including a Trello board that I am crowdsourcing tips and tricks on, and things like countdowns to when Team is going to be. So the page looks like this. I'm working on my web development. Forgive me. It's a snacksalotl. Rodney got it. It's holding a taco. Yes, it's a sandwich, Rodney. So the top, we just got a countdown until team. You can sign up here to get updates right in your inbox. But then also like pre-registration pricing. So just some reminders on we need to take action. Some Q&A. And one thing I need to add is a Trello board. And I think I have an upcoming link to it. But just for tips and tricks. So I'll share that as we go. But if you sign up right here, I'll be sending emails about team as we get closer. And then I'll do recaps at the end of every day on what I saw, what I experienced, in case you can't make it. Or if you do make it, you'll know what you might have missed. Also, if you're going to team, let me know. Find me on LinkedIn. I would absolutely love to meet you. That to me, again, is the value of team. And I'll drop my LinkedIn link in our chat just so y'all have it. Chat. So that is this QR code, and it helps if I share the link in chat so you don't have to whip out your camera. There we go. And then meeting people. There are thousands of people at Team. You won't be able to meet them all, obviously, because there's just so many of them. But you will have people who maybe you've interacted with and work with you that you don't recognize. These two gentlemen are from Kazakhstan. They saw some of my online trainings and came out of nowhere. I was walking just down the hall, and these two guys, "Oh, Rob, good to meet you. We've seen you online." I'm like, "That's amazing. Tell me about yourself. Like, how do you use the system? What can I help you learn from? What can you teach me?" And so these quick interactions are really joyful for me because you'll just bump into folks and have a quick 5-second discussion, and that could last just 5 seconds, or that could last years. You have no way of knowing. And by getting all these people in the room who have a shared knowledge of, or a shared interest in Atlassian stuff at some level, we have that commonality. That makes it easier to connect. So far, we've got an even split between keynotes and meeting folks. I'm not saying one of these has to win. I know what I would vote for. I don't get a vote, though, even though it's my stream. Some people want swag. All right. This is an open-ended question. If you've been to conferences like Team, or even Team specifically, share your tips and tricks. Let me know what you figured out. And there's a couple ways you can do that. I think I talk about this here. Amazing. So I am learning Trello. I'm by no means an expert. I would have to defer to my friend Brittany on that. But this QR code will take you to a Trello board I've set up. Wow, I can't spell. Where I will be collecting tips and tricks around Team. And it looks like, a Trello board looks kind of like this. So that link should be just anonymous access. You can go in. If you've got a Trello account, you can go in and vote on these things. Ooh, there's a good one. If you're coming from outside the US, get a SIM card. Wear comfy socks. Bring a backpack. Just trying to give folks a leg up. Remember your computer charger. Actually, I need to put one in here. Make a checklist as I'm thinking out loud. I will definitely steal these ideas because the group is smarter than each individual. But lean on this. Vote for your favorites. Comfy Socks is getting a lot of votes. You can come in here and just vote for it. And I can see these two people have added a vote. Treat this as a free resource to help you out. Add your tips and tricks. If you've got other categories, like we've got things to do and packing so far, let me know. We can pop in another list just so we can keep sharing things. Kyther's asking if we have a Discord planning channel. Not yet. I got to fire my IT guy. He keeps forgetting these things. But if you ask me in about 10 seconds, we do now. So Kyther is referring to the Discord channel I run. I've now added a planning channel just for Team, or a team channel. The goal with these is just to give everyone more resources when they think about Team. This is useful for folks who have been, like myself. You just saw me adding stuff. But especially if you haven't been yet, if you're one of those plurality, the 40% of folks who haven't been to Team, take a look. This also applies to other conferences. These tips are not unique to Team necessarily. Register early, go find people on LinkedIn, that kind of thing. Yes, it did, Kythra. Ask and you shall receive. But please use this for free crowdsourced tips and tricks. So some other tips and tricks. If you're traveling with a group, you can sometimes get group discounts. This does require a bit of extra effort. So if you have a group of 3, 4, 5 people from your company, you might be able to call the airline and get a bit of a price break. I've never done that myself personally because it's just me working over here at Heen Tech. I am everyone, the entire employee base. But if you've got a group of folks going, it can't hurt to ask. Could especially be true for hotels or other like transport companies. But again, it can be expensive. So finding ways to make it cheaper and easier is very useful. Trisha, bring Ziploc bags. Yes, 100%. Also, put your, let's just go add these right now. I think, did someone put Ziploc bags? I'm going to add it. They're also very useful for things like toothpaste and sunscreen and anything else that's a liquid in case it explodes in your bag. It doesn't cover, say, your camera. I'm not speaking from experience there, at least. Your company may also have a travel department. This could be someone in HR who is just overwhelmed. It could be a whole other team, but they can sometimes help. And this ties into leaning on your company. I forget if I have a slide explicitly on this, but some companies do have a budget for professional development or, business meetings. This could be a good use case for that. Atlassian even has, and I might be skipping ahead here, a template where you can convince your manager that you should go. Now that let's take a look at this. Come on, there we go. This is intended as a conversation starter. I personally have never used one of these, usually because work will not pay for me to go somewhere. But this can help make the case. And again, there is a business case for you coming to team, right? You're building your skills. You're learning how to better use these tools. You're becoming a better employee for whatever company you're at. But you can use this as a starting point to help your manager make the case for you to go. Liz Tanner saying, bring air tags if you've got those. Sarah saying this is not super. This one is not super specific, Sarah. This template. Again, a generic starting point to help get you there. But your company, even if you can't be funded by them, may have tips and tricks. You can talk to your HR team or a travel team if you've got one. And this is where talking to your team, your company, your manager can help. Again, companies I've worked at have had learning budgets that could help pay for this. It can't hurt to ask. There could be a policy around it, something like that, but this can help get you there. If it can't pay for everything, at least it can pay for chunks of it. And that's another way to think of this. I made this a focus for me when I was earlier in my career to go to events like this and to pay a little bit out of my own pocket because I saw the value for Rob in attending them. And this is something we all have to decide for ourselves. But for me, it was worth a little bit extra out of my pocket to get there. My company could meet me most of the way, but this helped. Sarah is saying managers sometimes want specific things you'll get out of it. Yeah, but we don't know the schedule in advance. A VP, an executive, somebody. That would be interesting. Maybe we can kick this idea around, Sarah, is how do we, what's the sales pitch if we don't know a list of the talks, right? You could pull prior teams and say, here's examples. And that could also actually be a selling point. We don't know what Atlassian's going to announce. So it makes a lot of sense for me to be there on the ground to see it. How will this impact our company? Maybe Rovo's got this amazing new use case. I'll know first, and I'll share it with the team that night. Another thing you could offer is okay, manager, and I've seen teams do this anytime someone took a vacation, I'm going to give a talk to my organization or the team I work on about my experience and share the knowledge. So making it more than just, oh yeah, I want to go party in Anaheim for a week. No, this is a work event. I'm here to learn and not party at all, right? I say as I'm shaking my head. Lead generation and social engineering upskilling. Interesting take on that, Liz. I'm going to go find a link real quick. Some other tips and tricks. Even if you live in America, even if you live in California, research a bit about Anaheim and Southern California. I'm saying this because I live in Northern California, and to me, LA is everything from Los Angeles down to San Diego. I logically know that those are different places. However, it's all different, especially if you're coming internationally. Take time to understand local customs, in this case for America, in the case of Team Europe, wherever it is in Europe, Barcelona last year, is it proper to tip? How do I say hi to somebody? Do I need a business card? How do I dress? All of those things. Rodney, the Jira guy, is saying, meeting me, Rob, should be the justification. Somebody please put that, like, tell your boss, I'm going to meet this Rob guy. Let me know how that goes. I'm very curious. I don't know if it will help unless your boss happens to know me, but I'm happy to help you make the case. Dial me into the call and I'll help sell it. Kyther's reminding me they're two completely different cultures. Yes, they are very different. So taking time to understand about where you're going will help. It'll make you feel a little bit less awkward. For me as an American, tipping was a big one. Like, oh, I usually don't tip in Europe. Okay, I need to stop that habit. That's the big one for me. Some airlines also have videos that you can watch about different cultural norms. I did this when work sent me to Singapore. There was a 5-minute video on what it's like to be in Singapore, and that really helped me understand interactions and what do I do and how do I talk and how do I act. If you're going for work, keep all your receipts. Even if you don't get reimbursed, like if you're going for yourself, keep track of them because then you know how much it costs. I know it costs around, $2,500 to go to Europe for a week at Team. I'm making up numbers. That makes it easier next time. And some final tips. Get out and explore. It's very easy to stay in your hotel or stay in the conference hall. It's a very big space. You could spend the entire day walking around the exhibition hall talking to folks. But this is also an experience to travel. Even if you live near Anaheim, you can still get out and explore different areas, even just to touch grass, to use the phrase, get out of the conference hall and see other things. If you're coming in from out of town, like myself, if you can, add time before or after the event. Typically, I have to fly in and out the start and end days due to family obligations, but make the trip worth it to do other things. It's what you make it. Don't just make it to go listen to someone babble about Rovo. Make it for other things. Networking, meeting new people, exploring the local area. I was annoyed when I went to Barcelona that I didn't have more time after Team to actually see Barcelona. Now, I saw little bits of it, but I wanted to see more. A bite, thank you for dropping those in the Trello board. I really appreciate that. Trisha is suggesting, #not financial advice. In the US, sometimes unreimbursed business expenses can be tax deductible. I did not know that. That would have helped me when I was younger. But that is a great tip, and that's something talk to your tax advisor about. I am not a licensed financial advisor. Kythra is saying, bring envelopes for saving paper receipts. Brilliant. I typically don't save paper. I just take a picture of it. I do that for my own personal reimbursements through my business. So definitely check with your company how you should keep expenses. It could be you do it virtually. You have an app. It could be you got to bring paper. So just tips and next steps. Check out the site. I will be doing a follow-up session closer to Team. Thank you, Liz, for making that happen with the funding. I really appreciate the support. But sign up for updates at that QR code or the link in the chat. But talk to folks. Talk to other people about what it's like going to Team, why you should go, what you should get out of it. Come find me on LinkedIn. I'll put this link in the chat. I'll be happy to share tips if you've got specific questions. Come join us in Discord. There is now a channel just for Team. Come sign up for updates. Again, what I'm doing here is just trying to give everyone options so you have some way of getting more out of this if that's what you're looking for. And getting more out of it could just be watching the live streams. But you can expect that while I'm there, I will be creating content around what I'm seeing and experiencing. If you are there, come find me. I'd love to meet you. Get a cup of coffee, especially to my coffee sponsors who are keeping me in coffee. Thank you, folks like Kythra, Sarah, Arslan, and others. But you can always interact with Team. You can learn from it and get stuff. That's the big takeaway. I am personally curious to see what else is going on. And so far, it looks like the majority of us are interested in meeting folks. All right. I'm about out of stuff. I'm going to drop one more poll. Just what should I cover in the next team session? My thoughts on announcements, tips, tricks. Just a quick 3-question poll. Again, I do these for all of you to learn. It helps me to think through this stuff. I learn and expand, but let me know specifically what you want to hear in the next team live session I do. I'll probably do it, just going back to the team page. I did this one before the superfan pricing ended. I will probably do the next one sometime in March before the standard price pop. So look for something early in March with more follow-up on team. But if you're considering going and you are able to afford it, I recommend registering now, just so you register. The cheapest price is right now. Oh, my top 3 look forward tos. That's a good other Liz. Please help me or remind me of that if I forget. Justin, I am constantly struggling with how to engage better with the audience in YouTube. I like how they have this poll. I'm limited to just up to 4 questions, no stack ranking, no multiple choice, no images, no links, just 4 options. It's something. So if anyone has better ideas on how I can engage at scale with 50, 60, 70 people easily, I've thought about using Slido or other things that requires you to follow a link. So at least with this, it's in chat. But let me know what you think. I do want to thank you all. You just spent an hour listening to me babble about going to a conference. You could have spent your time doing anything else. So thank you for spending it with me. A Bite's got a great tip about Knott's Berry Farm, which is another, I'll call it amusement park similar to Disney. But be on the lookout for more. You know, a lot of free stuff here. I'll be doing live streams from team, recorded stuff between now and then. I've got a session tomorrow on the ACA 925 if you're looking to earn a certification. I'll put that link in the chat real quick, or at least how to register so you get information. But we are all done. Sarah, do you know if they fixed any logistics? I don't know. I will ask. I'll ask in the Atlassian community to see if anyone can help us out there. Kythra Menti could work. Did Knott's Berry Farm close? Huh. I don't know. I'll keep this open for the next few minutes just because I said I would go to the top of the hour, but we've got a Knott's Berry Farm. Doesn't look like they're selling season passes, so they must still be open, right? This is close to Anaheim, so let's see if we can find it real quick. Here's Anaheim, there's Disneyland. So Disneyland is basically where the convention is. So it would be like a short Uber ride or a short drive to get there. There's also Adventure City. Ooh, what is that? Oh, for children. Okay. Now I know. Liz is saying they have a season's ticket just for the food. Love that. Another thing, maybe we'll add this to the tips and tricks. There are folks in the Atlassian community who live in or near Anaheim. So they will have ideas on what to do, where to go, etc. So definitely worth checking with them. Sarah preferred Vegas. The sessions weren't full as fast. Oh, COVID. Partially because it's your second home. Fair. Justin, I did see something somewhere about something closing in California. That was really vague. I'm sorry, I don't have more information. But hopefully that was helpful. All right, folks. I'm going to shut down the party. But definitely come find me online. Come join us in Discord and LinkedIn, in all the places. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, do all the online things to help support me as a creator. Thank you. Come say hi to me when you find me. Anyway, thank you all. Really appreciate your time again. And I'll see you all again here somewhere very soon. Toodles.